Well, hello, my hey. I got something to say, women around the world and men that support us. I'm so excited about I get excited about all my guests, but this is the subject that you wanted me to have on again. Do you know what it is? Money, 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 money. I can't sing. Money, 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 money. All right, that's enough. Lisa White Burns is in the house. Lisa, thank you for being on the show.
Sandy, thank you for having me. I am thrilled to be here. Your energy is everything. And so I'm so excited to be here. We're going to have a great conversation, and it's going to be fun. Thank you.
They just have one big question. I ask my peeps questions. If they listen to this show, will they be wealthy? I hope so.
Yes. But don't hold me to it. Okay. That's a good one.
Maybe. Okay, so Lisa and
Yes.
I met, I think at Susie's lunch, right? Is that
Yes.
where we met?
Yeah.
Susie,
I think so. Yeah.
which I know a lot of women are from around the world and I don't get to meet in person, but I actually met Lisa in person. And she was actually one of the people that picked
Yeah.
for Prop 'em Up, Prop 'em Up, Prop 'em Up Tuesday,
I
which we
did.
have looked into a whole nother time. So, this is what I can tell you about the show, ladies and men that support us around the world. Lisa and I are going to hopefully change the way you think about money. Could that be a correct
That's
statement?
wonderful. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the big and for me. Yes, it would be awesome if you were young and you were starting in your early 20s and you re-educated yourself around money and how you look at money. But that being said, it's never too late. And things happen. There are people that wrote in that had phenomenal businesses, then they went kapooey. There are people that got divorced and maybe they didn't win out in the war. There are people that invested. Well, it didn't work out for them. So there's all kinds of people, and it's never, ever too late, ever, until you go to the next life. So, I'm paraphrasing, Lisa, but I think that's what we talked about before we came on.
Absolutely. I mean, life takes turns when we least expect them, right? And so we're not going to just fall down and crumble with that. We're going to, pick our big girl panties up and we're going to figure out how to pivot and do the next best thing because we all have amazing lives we want to live that we deserve to live. And it's just by having, I believe, some sort of elementary, some basics money mindset skills that are going to
Mm.
help you get through some of those things. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right? And so any little things that we can do to help along the way, 100%.
I like that. All right, let's dive into it. Lisa's statement that she wants to say to
Yes.
women around the world. Financial confidence changes everything. When women find their financial voice, money, money, money. All right. I don't know what made me do that. They create freedom choices in a future on their own terms. Okay. Why'd you pick that one?
Because when women find their financial voice, it allows them to make good choices. It allows them to look at the freedom they could have. It allows them to plan for their future. When we don't find our financial voice, we are making decisions out of fear, guessing, because we don't have that clarity. We don't understand really what's going on in our own financial household, that type of thing. So once you're able to get that financial confidence, your whole world opens up. It might not be huge. I'm not talking, Oprah Winfrey, but when you can find confidence in your own little world, it opens up a whole new thing for you. And like we talked about before, sometimes you hit rock bottom, right? But when you can get a grasp of what's really going on, when you can take the time to gain your clarity, it allows you to go into that next best chapter that you absolutely deserve to live. Did that answer that?
Yes, and I'm really upset at you. Where were you when I was 19?
Yeah, I was struggling myself, right?
Oh my God. No. Okay, we're going to dive into it a little because the biggest thing I don't reveal enough about myself. So let's be vulnerable here.
Okay, do it, girl.
When I, it's so funny. My friends are like, you never tell us anything. And then we have to hear it on a podcast.
Podcast.
All right. So I grew up in humble beginnings in a project, right? And the way I viewed the world or the humans around me had me believe is people with money were evil. And whether they were evil to a severe extent, they weren't great people. They weren't wonderful people. And some of it may have been from, because of where they grew up, they had to justify it, in the
Sure.
projects, or it could be both religious. So little Sandy coming up in the world and breaking out of that, it took me a long time, Lisa, even I'm sure to this day, to
Yeah.
break out of that mindset, which you talk about being worthy. And I remember
Hmm.
that one of the first companies I opened up, and of course, I was going to help people and be social responsible, which I'm really happy about, and of course, overpay people because of guilt. And I would make all this money and then it would stop. And one of my advisors, mentors said to me, knew me well enough. He said, "You're doing that to yourself because you feel so guilty or scared that when you get to that next level, you're going to become that person.
Yeah.
And trust me, you won't." But
Yeah.
isn't that wacko?
Yes. No, no. I mean, you know, you grow up with what you see and what you're taught and what you learn, right? And you take it with you, all the way through life. I mean, work with a lot of women that are feeling guilty. They have businesses, they're feeling guilty because they need to raise their prices.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah.
And
Holler.
especially right now. And I say, listen, you have a service for whoever you're serving that needs you. Okay, so if you don't do what you need to keep your business going, you're not serving your clients. You're able to do it in a way you can be transparent, you can communicate to your clients
Yeah.
as long as you're, being like that, they will understand, right? And they will accept that. But if you don't do what you need to do to keep your business going, you're doing them a disservice as well.
It's good.
You like that one?
I like that one. I'm writing that down. Hold on for a
It's
second.
hard, especially right now. It's a big thing. A lot of, women with small businesses, with businesses that are going through right now. And it's okay to look at the bottom line. It's okay to have to do what you have to do to push your business forward, right?
So let's dive into this again because you've asked me to. I'm going to, talk a little bit to Lisa here. We're having a private coaching session that
Oh, I love
maybe you guys, I'll let you in on. Don't tell anyone. So, one of my, I call it way to, I call it a walkabout to work it out, is I tell myself, I'm not I'm not expensive because I'm really great at what I've done and I've been doing it for a while. So I know I'm on maybe the higher end. But I tell myself by doing that and serving the people that can afford me, it allows me to also help in other ways and give back and serve others that aren't able.
Yes.
And that's how I justify it in my head. And my question to you, I think that's a healthy way. Like I'll do charity things where the Joy Jolt Dance Fitness, where I give 50% to a charity, or I'll have a sliding scale for people in need. But it enables me to do that because I do charge my full price.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
is that a healthy way of
Yes.
dealing with it? In my
Yes. And if you didn't do that model, if you weren't able to do that, you would never be able to do the giving back that you love. And I can tell brings you so much joy, right? And helps. Yeah. So you need the one to do the other. And that's okay. That's okay.
Okay. So Coach Lisa said that's a healthy way of dealing with it.
Put
Okay,
that in your journal.
I am. Where's one of my journals? Okay, I got 50 million. All right, that's enough sharing, peeps. Let me tell you about Lisa. I gave you what you wanted. Lisa White Burns, that's a whole nother funny story. Founder and financial wellness advocate at Her Path LLC, blends her personal journey and 25 plus years of professional experience to help women find their financial voice. Money, I always want to keep saying money, money, money. But as a financial wellness coach, she supports women navigating life transitions and gaining clarity and control around their finances so they can make empowered decisions about their lives and futures. Through her work, Lisa helps women move from financial uncertainty to confidence, choice, and lasting empowerment. Lisa, let's dive into it, baby.
Let's dive. Let's dive.
Now it's your turn. Tell
Let's
us
dive.
your story. What brought you here? Why does this interest you? What was your path?
My path. Great question. So, my background is not finance, right? I am not a certified financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. My background actually is marketing, business development. For years and years and years, I did that. And about 6 years ago, I came in and was introduced to financial services through my husband, who is a financial advisor, who was
Ah,
pivoting his own practice. 33 years, and it was during COVID, obviously. He was turning 50. It was COVID. Everybody was having their aha moments, right? And he was
mm.
pivoting his practice, and he said, I need some help. I need a different marketing. I need to shift. And he said, would you help me? And I said, you know it. Because I was actually at the time, I have 4 kids, and at the time I was a recess and lunch aide at my littlest kid's school, and they were at my dining room table because it was COVID. And I said, I don't know what is happening in the world. I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to this job. What are we doing? And so I
Yeah.
said, yes. So we were off to the races, and we did a lot of financial wellness. We would create Zooms. We did a lot on variety of topics of financial wellness, estate planning, creating a budget, retirement planning. I would do some, he would do some. And what I noticed was that the people that were showing up in the room, majority were women, women my age, women that wanted to get educated, women that wanted a place where they could raise their hand and say, hold on, I don't understand that. Let's back up, explain that to me again. A safe space where they could figure out what they needed to do, how they needed to plan, that type of thing. And so we built this financial wellness program, and it was phenomenal. And what I noticed because of that is that women really needed sort of a path or a community or a place where they could get educated, make good decisions, get connected with the right kind of financial people. And so 2024,
Mm.
I broke off and started my own practice, which is called Her Path. And that's exactly what I do. I help women rethink how they view money, reset goals, get back on track if they've been through a life event, life of transition like divorce, empty nesting, death of a spouse, heavy, heavy stuff that can set a
Yeah.
lot of people back, get them back on track, and figure out, okay, I've been married for 25 years. I've just been divorced. And what in the world do I do now? Because that wasn't my role for 25 years. My spouse had took over the finances, and now all of a sudden, wait a minute, I'm 50 some odd years old. My kids are gone, and you want me to do what? So we back up and we break it down, and we think about how we're viewing money, what are the goals, how do you get started, what's holding you back. And
Mm.
it's a lot of talk, it's a lot of figuring out and then taking baby steps to do what we need to do to get on track, to make a plan, right? Because these women are still, a lot of our midlife women, they have a lot ahead of them, a lot they want to do, and they absolutely deserve to do. So that's a little
I'm
background
so
about me.
glad that that is your market specifically. And honestly, I didn't know that until we started talking.
Oh, oh,
I
good.
did. Yeah.
Oh,
The second time. The first time I knew what you were in, but the second time that we started talking, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be perfect for the show. That's why I had to bring you on.
yeah.
So we got a lot of questions on that one. So let's
Okay.
just go for this big one. And I'm going to bunch them together, people, because I can't get to all of them. and I always make up names. We're going to call Sally Beth. So, dear Lisa, I am 49 years old. I have 3 kids. I started a business, very successful. And then, well, we won't talk about the person. She said that tricked me,
Oh,
but I lost everything.
uh,
On top of it, in the midst of it, when I lost everything, I also, I'm sorry, it's not funny. It's not funny, but the way she's writing it, I also lost my husband to a younger woman.
uh,
And then she says, I love this woman. Damn him. I'm sure she's had more than that.
I mean, if we don't laugh, we'll cry, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. So obviously
what do
taking
we
a
do?
break. There's a lot of women that in the same situation, they got divorced, whatever. Their business was successful, didn't work out. They invested, and now they're maybe not 49, they could be 59, but they can't afford to just stop. And they're starting over. How can they possibly think that they deserve money when this has happened to them? And with the way, well, what they're going to say, with the way the economy is, how am I going to find a job and how am I ever going to get back on my feet? P.S. Sandy, don't tell me, don't tell me it starts with my mindset.
Oh, we're not going to do that. We already talked about that.
I'm sorry, it's not funny, but I'm laughing because the way it's kind of funny. And I lost my husband to a younger woman. Damn him. Your turn.
Here's the first thing I would say. We're not going to talk about mindset. And I appreciate the fact that she said that, because how many times do we midlife women get said that? Here's what I'm going to say. Control what you can control. That is huge. I feel like we as women spend so much time on worrying about the other person, the other people. What about this? What if they do that? What if that? We cannot control that. We have to just figure out what we can control and make those changes. So I have 4 kids, second marriage. My first marriage ended up horrible breakup, horrible divorce, extremely toxic, very, very confrontational from a money standpoint, a lot of lawyer. It was bad because I was so caught up in the emotional side of this divorce. And it left me rock bottom financially and emotionally.
Oof.
I ended up at 34 years old, a single mom with my bags, moving back in to my parents' house, to my old bedroom.
Oh
Okay.
God.
So here I am walking up the stairs. I walk into this bedroom, baby blue painted walls with the David Bowie poster over here and the Madonna poster over here. And I'm thinking, holy
Yeah.
beep, like, you gotta be,
Holy Mother of God.
yes. I said, no, you gotta be kidding me. No way. And I kind of dropped my bags and I said, you know what? I need a plan and I need one now. And I started a plan. I said, I am going to get out of this situation as soon as I can. And I started a little business. Okay. I started, my background's graphic design. I started a graphic design and marketing business. And I saved every little penny. And I ended up eventually, I tracked every little thing. I saved everything. And I eventually was able to move out to this teeny tiny little apartment. I think it was this big in Ambler with my daughter. And I started over. And I just thought I needed a plan. I needed a place to start. I needed a goal. And I needed to get moving. Because when you have a plan, it puts you in control. It gives you something to focus on. It gives you something to do with your days. And it does move you forward. It can feel super slow, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. So while there's a lot packed into that question,
No,
from
I
this
love it.
woman, I feel like what you need to do is you need to break it down and control what you can control. And what keeps you up at night of all the things that are just going wrong? Sometimes you lay there and say, what's the main thing that's really keeping me up at night? That's what I'm going to tackle first. and I'm going to either tackle it on my own or I'm going to reach out for help. And that's
Mm.
one thing, Sandy, that I did not do during this horrible part of my life. I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed of
Yeah.
this divorce. My parents were high school sweethearts. Nobody was divorced in my family. I kept so many things close to the chest that I made horrible decisions, financial decisions, because they
Yeah.
were all emotional decisions because I had
Yeah.
nobody to turn to say, should I be doing this? Should I keep, should I, it was just like fight, 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 fight. And what I should have done is I should have reached out to those people that I knew had already been through what I'd been through. And I should have just said, can we have coffee? Can we sit down? How'd you get through it? What should I do? It would have saved me a lot of money, a lot of
Yeah.
heartache. And so, but talk about being vulnerable. I should have opened up a little bit, to be honest, and used my resources.
Yeah.
Used my resources. So those are a couple things, long-winded, but control what you can control.
Yeah.
Use your resources. Ask for help. Right?
Yeah. And I appreciate you telling that story, and thank you for telling that story, because I'm sure there's a lot of women that can relate. And the biggest thing that you said is you were embarrassed. That you're moving
Right.
back home into your old house and you're 34 and you have a kid, and that this happened. And the fact that you're saying the biggest mistake you made was not being vulnerable and asking for help is huge.
Yep. Yep. I'm a type A. I'm a doer. And at that point, before I had hit rock bottom, I was going to do this all on my own. I was going to figure it all out. I was
Yeah.
going to, yeah. And guess what? This thing was way bigger than me. I needed my resources. I needed to pull them in. And when I felt that light bulb finally went off, and it was probably really my parents now that I think about it, because they said, come home, let regroup, come back here. And thank God I did because I really
Yeah.
needed to. I mean, I had to. And but that allowed me to say, like, wait a minute, there's people in my world that I should be tapping into. I don't I don't need to make it this hard. You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
didn't share with everybody. Don't get me wrong.
No, no.
But
Yeah.
but that was really once I kind of the light bulb went off and I said it gave me fuel. It gave me fuel and it said, okay, then make your plan, put it in motion, take baby steps, but move forward. And I was able to do that. Thank goodness. And then it's ironic that my husband now is a financial advisor.
I love it.
Goes
I
full
love
circle,
it.
right? It's ironic. It's like meant to be. And now we're like working together and doing this thing. So a lot of what I talk to women about, really honestly, and a big mission of mine is what I went through. And if I can help somebody not go through that, not waste a ton of money,
Yeah.
not be
Yeah.
so, not have it be so horrible, is something that I really want to do. So
And the thing, and I want to go back and repeat some of it, but the biggest things, and I hear it all the time from women, is we are so tough on ourselves. But if we can accept, just like in every area of our life, we make mistakes
yep,
and it's okay.
yep,
We screw up. We're not perfect. There are some people that are really great with relationships. There's some people that are really great with money. There's some people that are really great with humans. And there's some people that suck at those. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And then
yes,
but they're good at this and they're good at
yes,
that.
yep,
And the biggest thing, let's stay with the money. There are people that say, I was never good with money. And I counted on this, this, and this, and this to happen. But that doesn't mean I'm not saying you're going to be a financial advisor,
yep,
but you can become good with your money and at least have people around you that you trust to help you with it. And I actually think, and Lisa, believe me, I was the stubbornest human being. I didn't ask for help. That was a sign of weakness. And you know what it is? I realized years later in business, it was a sign of strength.
100%. Yeah, yeah,
And when you do that mind shift, not mindset, but it is a mind shift
yep,
for you to be able to ask for help. Like, listen, okay, I'm not perfect. If I had a do-over, I would do that differently, but I'm still, what you mentioned, worthy of being financially sound, of having
yep,
financial freedom, of feeling good about money. And it's okay, you know?
Yep.
And now what
Yes.
am I going to do? And control what you can control,
Yep.
whether it's people or what's going on there.
Yep.
And the other thing she said, this was very clear. What's the thing that, by the way, that was the name of my first podcast, What Keeps You Up at Night?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was What Keeps You
That's
Up at Night.
cool.
And what is the one thing that you can target and start moving toward? Whether maybe it's just paying your bills, getting a home, getting out of your parents' house, whatever it is. I know this for sure. When you take action, even if it's only one thing that day that moves you forward for what your goal is, you feel so much better.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. I have a program I work with women. It's called the Reset. It's a 4-week thing. We pick one financial goal. I don't care how big it is, small it is. I don't care what you think. It's one. And by the end of those 4 weeks, we're getting it done. We're crossing it off our list and we're moving forward. Back to your point about asking for help, I just want to also say that actually asking for help is a great way to build your future. You're actually investing in your future by bringing people in that help you. You know, a lot of people are DIYers, and that's great. They could do their own finance, they could do all that's wonderful. Most of us are not financial experts, and we don't want to be. We want to be over here living our best life, doing our amazing things. We don't want to be doing all
Yeah.
the nuts and bolts. But what you need to do is bring somebody in that's going to help you and guide you and be with you through those stages, right? Because your life is it's going to turn again and again and again. That's another thing I've learned as I'm moving through midlife. Like I thought it was crazy back then. Well, there's stuff coming down the pike that I don't even know yet, right? So, I want somebody to be there with me as life changes and moves on. That's an investment in your future for yourself and your loved ones for
Yeah.
sure.
So I know we're not going to get to everything,
Yeah,
and it's a lot for them to take in, and they can always contact you. But I really want to dive into this one because
yeah,
number two, that of the three things she gave me, if we get the other ones, great. But I want, because we touched on some of the other ones, create a future self budget. Spend in a way that supports the life you truly want, not just the life you're surviving. And
mhm,
remember to create a safety savings cushion. Talk
yeah,
about that more.
sure. So, budgets, everybody talks about budgets. Budgets are wonderful and they keep you in check. Income coming in, expenses going out, that type of thing. But instead of just living your life impulsively and spending because you're stressed or the anxiety or whatever's going on, let's think about creating a budget for what could be, right? For what's next. Life is an amazing thing, right? And there's so many things that we can be doing, right? And maybe it's, you know, starting a new business, right? Maybe it's going back to school to get a graduate degree. Maybe it's retirement. Maybe it's getting out of a relationship that has gone bad. But what that means is it's planning for the future, taking the time to plan for the future so that you are ready to do what you need to do when that comes. Instead of being just in the moment, spending, saving, spending in and out, it's planning ahead. That's really what financial wellness is. It's being ready and it's planning for what's coming, right? And getting you through all the stages. That's what I meant by that. And then to tack onto that, I am a huge, huge advocate of saving safety cushions, emergency fund, rainy day money, whatever you want to call them. I don't believe enough of us spend time on this. That means you are setting aside money that you can access at some point, whether it be in a bank account, a brick and mortar, or even an online high yield savings account like a ally.com or SoFi. You are putting aside money regularly that will sit there that you can access if you need to for when life takes a turn. And we all know
Yeah.
life takes a turn. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to go into that bucket and pay for whatever you need to pay for instead of reaching for that credit card and getting further and further in debt. And so it's a really important thing that I try to instill in women, anybody, you can automatically put out of your check, you can automatically put a certain amount in they're going to say
Yep.
3 to 6 months of, expenses. Start with anything. Start with $25. Start with $50. And before you know it,
Absolutely.
because you're making it a habit, you're going to be like, well, I could do 100. Well, I could do 200, and you're building that pool, that pool over here, and it's accessible for you when you need it. So, so important. It's not locked up anywhere. It's gaining a little bit. That's why I love these high yield savings account or these money markets, because it's going to get you a little bit of interest. So your money's going to actually make money while you're sleeping, that whole thing.
Yeah,
So I'm a huge advocate of that. Figuring out how to start that emergency fund, rainy day money, safety cushion, whatever you want to call it.
I love that. Yeah, and you're right. It might be 25 bucks, it might be $100. And I remember a friend of mine saying to me years ago, and it stuck with me. I don't care if you buy a cup of coffee for $7 every day. I just want you to be aware that you're buying a cup of coffee for $7 every day.
Yes.
And is that where you want to spend your money? And if you do, great. But don't say you don't have even $25, $50, $100 to save.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
At the networking event, one of the ladies was like, yeah, I'm moving. And I could pay the guy to move all the photos, but she's like, Mama likes shoes. And so she was saying, and I love that,
Yeah.
that it would cost that much for that person to move those, and she'd rather have the shoes. That's a conscious decision.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Right. And one thing, well, I'll just tap on real quick. The first thing what I talked about is having a money minute. I call be the CFO of your life. Take time once a week, every other week, once at the same day, the same time, in the same place to do a money check-in. I want you to open your accounts, make sure everything looks okay. You don't have to spend a lot of time, 30
Yeah.
minutes, 20 minutes. Make sure everything looks okay. Because in this day and age, too, things, you get things that come out and that wasn't supposed to be a debit. I didn't do that. Or,
Yep.
there's a subscription in there you haven't used in how long? Let me get rid of that. If you're making an audit of what's coming in and going out, it's really important. It gets you in check with your money, and it's a nice little simple habit that you can do, like I said, weekly or every other week or once a month, even just to stay ahead of your
Yeah.
money, because it's
Yeah.
going to give you clarity and confidence, right?
Once I cannot tell you that I wasn't doing that. And then I started doing it, even just for me, it's once a week because
Yeah,
we had a
same.
situation where we were getting scammed. And my son, who was getting scammed for his account, I wasn't looking at his account, he's in college. And we
Oh,
went to see the bank guy. The manager said it's 80% of his day is dealing with people being scammed.
oh, wow.
80%.
Yep.
So that's why, unfortunately, yeah, it's good to know where your money is, but I used to do it once a month. I just look at it once a week. I go, okay,
And listen, how easy is it now with all the online accounts? I mean,
put it on your
really,
phone.
you can
Yeah.
pull that up and right. I mean, it's not like the olden days when we had the checkbook and we had the ledger, and that was like, I mean, come on, like 15, give 20 minutes, right? You could do that. You could do that. It's important.
So the last thing was, and I'm going to twist it just a little bit, but I want to get your tip in here because I got questions about this. Financial wellness is emotional wellness too. Money impacts our peace, our relationships, our confidence, and our ability to choose what's next. Absolutely. Remember to give yourself grace even when you make mistakes and always ask for help. Okay, so we touched on
Yeah.
asking for help. The other questions I got over and over again is around that give yourself grace because there are a lot of women, especially women that listen to Hey, I Got Something to Say, that they know the importance of money and that it does bring them confidence, relationship, ability to choose what's next. But they feel horrible for what they didn't do. Like they feel bad that they didn't know what the husband was spending or not, and then they get divorced or what the accounts were. They feel bad that they didn't look closer at their business, and check what was in the cookie jar. They feel like, I don't want to say, well, one woman said, I just feel like I was stupid, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're beating themselves up and they don't, as one woman said, Lisa, I don't know how to give myself grace. I sit here and think,
Oh,
oh my God, it's so sad. And I get
oh,
it.
yeah.
She's like,
I
I
get it
feel
too.
like a
Yeah.
big disappointment to my
Yep.
family,
Oh,
I have kids in college, and now that I'm on my own, I don't know how I'm going to finish paying for them.
yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like I've let myself and my family down. How does she
Wow,
go
that's a
out?
lot. That's a lot. That's tough. This is so ironic. Just yesterday, I did a social post on this. And it's about, hey, ladies, it's time to give ourselves grace when we're talking about money. It's time to forget about what I did or didn't do in the past, but start today. It's money talk. It's the negative, and we need to turn that money talk into positive. So, in other words, I hear this all the time. I am so bad with money. I hate it. No, I'm not great with money, but I'm willing to learn. Or
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never paid attention to it. It was somebody else's job. I don't care. No, I'm going to pay attention to it now. Today's a new day, and we're going to start. So the money talk, that's something that we need to flip. Women, we need to stop talking negative about how we've reacted about money or viewed money in the past, because that's gone. We can't change that. We're not going back there. It's today and tomorrow. And we can change that. We can
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
different about it, talk different about it. Find a friend that you resonate with that is the same way, and make sure you're catching each other, right? Listen, Donna, if I start doing this, poke me or whatever, or
Yeah. Yeah.
remind me or text me and say, like, I'm being negative Nelly again. Once you start changing your language, you're going to give yourself some confidence, right? And you're going to say, wait a minute, I can do this. I can do this. It really is. It has to start there, because we were taught and we were shown, don't worry about money. It's going to be somebody else. You're going to get married. Don't worry. And then
Yeah.
we heard that. I'm 57 years old. We heard that. What was going on at the kitchen table when you were in seventh grade? Okay, it wasn't a great conversation at my household, right? And so, you just press that down. You press it down. You never wanted to touch on it. Well, now we got to deal with that stuff. And now
Yeah.
it's all coming back up, right? So today's a new day. I know that sounds super simple, but today's a new day. You could change your attitude. You could change how you look at it. And quite honestly, you're going to have to. You're going to have to, right? You
Yeah.
can't keep going back to what it should have, shouldn't done. That's old
Yeah.
news. Turn that chapter, turn that page.
So I want to make sure I give them something that can do immediately and sink their teeth in. And I love the fact I call it the accountability partner. You can have it in any part of your life. I have people that do that for working out. What is something, I love the accountability partner, they can tell, but what
Mhm.
is something they can do right away? Is it
Yeah.
catching themselves? Do you believe in affirmations, journaling? What is something they can do immediately to help change that dialogue in their head? Because I know from reading these things, they're strong and it's hard to get away from it when you're in the thick of it, even though you can't go back and they know that logically. What's something they can do immediately to help them with that dialogue and not feel like horrible humans?
Yes. So one thing I do, and I totally get this, and we all have women that we look up to, that we are like, besties, or just women that just have changed you in some way, right? You reach out to them when you're like in dire straits, whatever. Whenever I get like that, I picture that woman in my head, and I look at her and I see her face, and I think, okay, I'm changing this. Okay, she would want me to say it like this. She would want me to do it like this, because she has my best interest at heart. That's one thing. I've kind of visualized that. I don't know if that's going to help with everybody, but I do that. And I think, okay, I'm going to make her proud today. And I'm going to do this,
Ah,
whatever the one thing is that I'm stuck on, right? I'm going to make her
gotcha.
proud today. I'm not going to worry about anybody else, but making her proud today. And it works for
I
me.
got it.
I actually have a couple different women when it's different scenarios,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I
you know
love
what I
that.
mean? Yeah, 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 yeah.
And your rituals, you hit the gym.
Oh, I love the gym. It's my favorite place. It's my home away from home. I love going to the gym, not just to work out and to try and stay healthy, but I work for myself, so it's a social thing for me as well. I have
Yeah.
my gym friends who I absolutely love and adore, and I can reconnect. It's a place, I reduce stress. I get ideas all the time when I'm at the gym, either working out or even the shower. All of a sudden, I'll be like, oh my God, that's a blog I want to write about.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, it's my home. I love it. It's my home away from home. I absolutely love it. And when I can't get there, I can tell my energy is
Yeah.
so different.
Now, do you do it before work, middle,
Yeah,
after?
I do it before. I have a routine in the morning. I still have kids that are in high school, so I have to get kids off and make sure they're. So then once they're off, I'll do like, a little later in the morning, I'll go. But, I love classes. I do classes. I have my favorite teachers, that type of thing, who I love and have known forever. Or I'll just do my own thing if I'm off schedule. But just being there is just, I love the environment and the energy, and it's not work. So it,
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
it helps me a lot in different all kinds of aspects of my life.
Yeah. And well, I'm into fitness, but whether it's the gym or going outside or doing it in your home, it really does change everything. And if you work by yourself in your home, whether you go to the gym or get outside, it really does change your whole view
Yeah.
of the rest of the day.
Change your environment 100%. That's another thing that, there you go. Another quick fix when you're just struggling, stand up and change your environment. All of a sudden, you
Yep.
gain clarity. Things are not quite as doom and gloom as you thought. Or things are, wait a minute, I can handle this. This isn't as complex as I thought. Get up and change your environment.
I'm laughing because our conversation is making me think of I've had so many amazing mentors throughout my life, just unbelievable. And they'd helped me a lot with my businesses. And I remember one business, I don't know, someone took a lot of my clients, like there's, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, no, I don't know how I'm going to pay, the rent, my employees, whatever. And he looked at me, he was a financial advisor for a huge company, but he was also one of my clients. And he said, it's money. Make more. I was like, just like it wasn't a big deal. And I go,
Yeah.
what do you mean? He goes, you, you make money, you'll lose money. It's business. Don't complain about it.
Yeah.
Just go make more. He's got, like he said, control what you
Yeah.
control. You can't, he's already left. He took those clients. It's
Yep.
done. So go make
Yep.
more money. I go, and I was so young. I was like 28. I was like, okay.
Yeah. We got to remember that kind of being naive. We got to remember go back to those days because it
Right.
can
And
help
I
us
was like, I
now.
believed him. I was like, okay. So then, and it became my mindset. And so then I brought in a business partner later, and he would always say the same thing. And then his wife would remind him whenever he'd be like, oh my God, I feel like I'm plugging hole. We'll make more.
Yeah, it's simple as that. Sometimes we get in our own way, right?
But just that, I know it's not sometimes that simple, but it did change the whole
Yep.
perspective of don't put so much pressure on you. There is ways to make money. It might be tough right now, but there is a door that's going to be open. And it
Right.
changed my like, well, okay, just make more. Well, why did I think of that? That was great financial, right? From this
Yeah.
guy who's the head of this huge company, the
Right.
CFO.
Right.
And I said,
No
that's your whole financial plan?
plan. No
Make,
numbers. No spreadsheets.
make more.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I love it.
Lisa, I'm
I
so
love it.
glad you came on the show. I
Oh,
know
this has been amazing. I feel like we've been through therapy. Like, it's
it
great. I
is
love it. Love it.
therapy in motion.
Yes, I love
Anywho,
it.
I knew it's going to be fun, and I knew it wasn't only going to be fun, but it was going to be informative. So I want to just take a moment here before we move to the end
Yes.
and recap a few things that I took away, and I want to
Okay.
make sure because I really want to home in on that we haven't really covered before. Besides the fact, just make more. Things that struck out, my notes, and they're scribble scrub notes. Okay, this is where you are. You can't go back. I know it sounds, cliche, but the shoulda, woulda, couldas don't work. And put your big girl pants on. This is, it's okay. I got that. Number two, give yourself grace. People make mistakes, whether it's with money or relationships. We all make mistakes. We all do things that we wish we wouldn't have done. It all think that the world falls on our shoulders. Okay, now what? Now what are you going to do?
Mhm. Mhm.
Number three, not telling everyone because there's people you trust, but ask for help. Do not be embarrassed. People, in my perspective, they like helping others.
Mhm.
They feel good about
Yep.
helping others. And when you open up, it allows them to open
Mhm.
up.
Yes.
Okay. Control what you can control. And if you are feeling really horrible about where you are and it's tough to give yourself grace, one of the visuals you have is you think about somebody in that certain area that you admire and what would they have you do? Okay. Is
Yes.
there anything else I missed, Lisa, that we didn't cover or I
No,
didn't
that
cover?
was that was a wonderful wrap up. I love that. I just want to add one more thing on the give yourself grace with mistakes. Don't let your mistakes hold you back. You have your mistakes, you learn from them. Don't get caught up in that. Keep the momentum moving forward. That's a big thing because that's a lot where women will get stuck. And they'll say, "Well, I didn't know what I was doing. And I got stuck, or I made all these bad financial decisions." And they're so caught into making the mistake that they forget that that's okay. Let's move forward. Tomorrow's a new day, type of thing.
Yeah.
So I will just reiterate that part.
And I think the biggest thing that I'm grateful for, well, a lot of things that you're on the show, is that you told your journey. And I think that's very helpful because that will allow people to have more grace and open up more to you, which is, I think, really, really important. I don't have this
Yeah.
all figured out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, tomorrow morning, women are going to wake up and you're going to whisper one thing in their ear. If you could whisper one thing in every woman's ear around the world, what would you say to them?
You've got this.
All right, you got this. Now,
Yep.
in case they need reminders about everything we went over, or they want to dive a little deep,
Yeah.
Lisa, how can they reach you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. My website is herpathbegins.com. All my information's there. A lot of resources, tools, tips, that type of thing. And then I'm also on all socials at Lisa White Burns. So I'm on Insta, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can reach out to me there as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
And we'll have it in the show notes. All
Perfect.
right.
Thank
Well,
you.
hey, I got something to say, women around the world and men that support us. You know how much I love and appreciate you. I might be biased, but I think I attract the most incredible, awesome humans. And I do not take that lightly. I really appreciate all the support. And also, there's people everywhere that could benefit from Lisa's information. I don't even think I know one person that wouldn't. So we really appreciate you spreading the word, liking, rating it, and doing what you do. And until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Thank you, Lisa, and
Thank you so
toodles.
much, Sandy. I appreciate it. Bye.